Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, June 19, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look back at the infrared satellite images, and we are announcing finally that we have a tropical storm on our hands. This is Tropical Storm Alberto, the first named storm of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. It was once PTC number 1, that was potential tropical cyclone number 1, and the US National Hurricane Center has finally upgraded it, considering that we have more convection around its center, and we can see that it's definitely doing a number on Mexico as well as on Texas. Mexico could use the rainfall. They've been plagued with the heat for the past couple of months, so I am sure that they're grateful. Hopefully it's nothing bad with a lot of rainfall causing flooding. If we take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing, we can see that they are still highlighting that the northeastern coast of Mexico and even portions of Texas are under a tropical storm warning, as indicated by the blue line for the coastline, as we can see here by the key on the bottom. And we can see the wind field associated with this tropical storm, all of which is represented by this brownish goldish color. You know, the tropical storm force winds are about anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour, more so closer to 39 miles per hour than anything else. If it was closer to 73, it would be on the verge of becoming more of a hurricane, but we know that with the proximity to land, that time is definitely winding down. It won't be strengthening as much as expected, so we still have a lot more strong winds coming into portions of northeastern Mexico, section of Texas, not to mention the very heavy rainfall that they've been plagued with, and there's a lot more rainfall to come tonight into early tomorrow morning. If we take a look at the US National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can still see that they have that area in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico highlighted for possible tropical cyclone development within the next 7 days. So even after Alberto is out of here, there's still a chance that the Central American gyre might spin up another system. We'll see exactly what unfolds. And we can also see that they still have that area highlighted to the east of Florida, associated with a system that could potentially develop within the next 7 days, but as of right now it has a 20% chance, a low chance of development. Either way, if any one of these develop, we know they're gonna be getting the name Beryl, and after Beryl we see Chris. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have that trough of low pressure attached to the frontal system, stretching all the way from the northern sections of the North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the Caribbean. We can see a tropical wave right here to the east of Jamaica, another tropical wave right here across portions of northeastern South America, a tropical wave right here equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean, and we can also see a tropical wave right here off the west coast of Africa. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see that we have a lot of clouds across the basin. Some clouds are right here associated with a tropical wave that's definitely going to be affecting portions of Jamaica tonight into tomorrow. I just even heard a clap of thunder in my area in St. Thomas. We can still see the clouds associated with the, what you call it, this is the Central American gyre. Broad area of low pressure, lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms across portions of Guatemala, El Salvador right there. And we can also see the clouds associated with that system that the hurricane center is watching, that's pushing towards the west-northwest. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, June 19. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in the morning on Wednesday, then affecting sections of some northern and western parishes during the afternoon. And just for reference, eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on the top side of the island. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and even Portland. And what ended up happening? A post was made on our Twitter page at 9:30 a.m. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at weather.jamaica, and on our Facebook page at weather.jamaica876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. However, I have sort of been banned on Facebook recently for a post that I made way back in 2020 on my story. As inappropriate as it may be, it was more so of a joke than anything else. But I guess they're finally cracking down, so they suspended my Facebook for about a good 5 days. So hopefully I'll get to post shortly, which explains the lack of posting going on our Facebook page recently. So either way, we saw that at 9:30 a.m., just as predicted in the morning, we had some rainfall as represented by these greens and yellows that we can see by the key on the right that represents light to moderate rainfall affecting sections of some eastern parishes. So definitely sections of St. Thomas, Portland got in on that rainfall. And then by afternoon, we saw another post was made at 1:15 p.m. highlighting the infrared satellite image, and we definitely saw the thunderstorm activity taking place, especially across sections of some northern parishes. So definitely sections of St. Anne, sections of Trelawney, sections of Westmoreland, Hanover definitely gotten on the action, not to mention sections of Portland. And we definitely have confirmation coming in from one of our followers on our Instagram page, Alicia_Joseph, heavy rain in Westmoreland and Negril. And even if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, as a matter of fact, let's reload these images because I want to show the very latest of what's taking place. So we can see that we definitely had that thunderstorm activity, more so especially across sections of the northern and western portion of the island. But we can definitely see, as of right now, as the sun is starting to go down, we see some clouds coming in from the east. So clouds associated with that tropical wave that we mentioned earlier. A huge burst of convection right there across sections of St. Thomas. Right there at the end of the loop, if we look even close, we can see that popcorn pop-up of cloud, thunderstorm convection definitely taking place. And if we take a look at the infrared satellite images, that's if we have the latest, showing at least 6:25. I don't think it's here as yet. Okay, not here as yet at all. Alright, but we can definitely see that we have some amount of clouds coming in the portion of the southeast. We can see that majority of the thunderstorm activity has pushed off towards the northwest of the island, associated with what took place today. And we can see where we indeed had that rainfall today, definitely, especially across northern Jamaica. So anywhere from St. Mary and Portland westward, so St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, definitely Westmoreland got in on the action more than anything else. Southern parishes got in on more of the overcast skies than anything else. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, so we're starting to match what we're seeing here on the radar with what we just saw on the visible satellite image, and we can see that rainfall definitely coming into section of St. Thomas, definitely to the south of St. Thomas as we speak, which explains the thunder that I just heard in my area, considering that I live in this parish. We can also see that rainfall right there off to the west of the island, associated with what was received today. And we can see that there's a lot more rainfall to come tonight, as we're definitely going to be plagued with this tropical wave that I just mentioned. There's definitely a tropical wave somewhere here between Haiti and Jamaica, and it's definitely starting tonight into tomorrow. Alright, so if we actually take a look at the temperatures right now, we can say about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. It makes sense that temperatures are lower in Montego Bay considering the rainfall that they received today. You can also see that the temperature forecast for 4 a.m. on Thursday has 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And if we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow from the GFS, this map showing 18Z on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, has Jamaica embedded in some slight yellow colors that represent up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of June are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. We can see this map right here showing the dry area, and we know the dry area is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see a lot of dry area across the main development region, closer to Africa, the northern portion of the North Atlantic. And we can see more in the way of blues than anything else across the majority of the Caribbean basin into the Gulf of Mexico, the southwestern Caribbean. All of this has to do with very moist air, which explains all the thunderstorm activity, all the cloud cover taking place. And we're indeed grateful. We'll take the rainfall more than anything else. And as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on a Thursday, we can definitely see this huge plume of Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region. Some of the dust stretching into portions of the Caribbean, even portions of Jamaica. Gonna be getting in on this, and this is the forecast for 2 p.m. on a Thursday. And we see Jamaica right here embedded in some amount of brown, so we might definitely see some amount of hazy skies, if not triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing higher waves than what we got today, more blues than anything else that we can see by the key on the bottom right that represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, even gusting to 25 knots in some spots. And we also see the general direction for the winds coming in from the east across the island, more so from the east southeast, especially on the south coast. So who knows, you might have that air piling up again across sections of some northern and western parishes during the afternoon, and whatever comes off of the sea from the east definitely going to be affecting sections of some eastern parishes than anything else, especially during the morning hours. And with the upper level winds coming in from the west southwest, it's definitely going to be favoring more of that afternoon rainfall across sections of some northern parishes. So it's not like today where we had the upper level winds blowing those high cold cloud tops off towards the southeast like we saw today. We're going to be having more of that being blown off towards the north, so more especially rainfall across sections of northern Jamaica than anything else. And if you actually take a look at the 1 hour total rainfall forecast maps, this is where we're here. We like to see where it's going to be raining. And we can see that even as of tonight, this is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 p.m. Jamaica time. And where do we see the blues that represent rainfall? Across sections of some southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica, especially section of St. Thomas, Portland. We see that both the Euro and the GFS mods are definitely in consensus with that rainfall for tonight across sections of the east. Skipping ahead to about 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time, we still see much of the same rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland. And then by about 10 a.m., which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, so 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, we still see much of the same. You are starting to put more of the blues that represent rainfall into portions of central Jamaica, but we can see the consensus on both the Euro and the GFS for most of the rainfall still to be plaguing sections of St. Thomas and Portland. Then by afternoon it starts making more sense with what was predicted, with more of that rainfall across sections of some eastern, northern and western parishes during the afternoon. So we'll take it. We're in the month of June. We like to see the rainfall more than anything else. Both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that especially eastern Jamaica is going to be receiving the most rainfall tomorrow. Euro showing up to 0.5, 1 inch of rainfall. The GFS showing up to at least something similar, as a matter of fact. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that some areas have been experiencing, not to mention the heat, the very warm temperatures that we've been plagued with for the past month. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of activity taking place associated with the upper level low pressure system, tropical wave across the portions of the Greater Antilles heading into Jamaica. Central American gyre still spinning away right here with a lot of activity. Clouds associated with a system that's possibly going to develop before it enters into the southeastern United States. Clouds associated with numerous tropical waves and the intertropical convergence. So we see a lot of activity taking place this June. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we're going to see the extent of all the rainfall and all the cloud cover. So we can see that there's definitely a lot of rainfall taking place anywhere from Guadeloupe westward. So Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts, St. Martin, Anguilla, the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, definitely sections of the Dominican Republic. Even on the Barbados radar, we do see some stray showers hit or miss here and there, more so sprinkles than anything else across Barbados. But most of that rainfall right there affecting sections of Trinidad and Tobago, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, sections of Martinique, and even spilling into sections of Dominica. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall even better on the Dominican Republic, sections of Florida, Cuba, Nicaragua, sections of Mexico, Colombia, even sections of French Guyana getting in on the mix as well. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we see more grays than anything else across majority of the Caribbean, with a mixture of those yellows and blues that represent above normal temperatures and below normal temperatures, more below normal temperatures, especially across the southwestern Caribbean and Central America right there. But as relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on a Thursday, we do see all the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we see that it's definitely going to be plaguing portions of the Caribbean, especially the Windward Islands, section of the ABC Islands, section of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, and even the Turks and Caicos. So maybe some slight hazy skies, not to mention triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, it still makes sense that we have more of the purples and the reds across portions of the western Gulf of Mexico associated with tropical storm Alberto, and we see the normal wave heights, say anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights across majority of the Caribbean, as represented by these blue colors, and that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, gusting to 25 knots in some spots, gusting even stronger across the western Gulf, maybe 25 up to 30 knots. And we see the general direction for majority of the basin having the wind coming in from the east. However, as relates to the rainfall forecast now, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with where the rainfall is going to be expected within the next 24 hours. So definitely sections of Florida with some isolated showers, Bahamas, definitely some rainfall across sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. If they're not already experiencing that rainfall right now, it's definitely coming within the next 24 hours. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. So definitely sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of Martinique, even scrolling down, we see French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia in the mix, not to mention sections of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.